Friday to you and yours. So glad to have you with us here on Cronkite Sports Live. Nick Batters, Andre Sims. Andre, I cannot tell you how happy I am for you to be at this anchor desk. You're never going to give me up, never going to let me down, never going to run around and desert me. You're never going to say goodbye. You're never going to tell a lie and hurt me. So glad to have you here.
Yeah, wouldn't dream of it, Nick. The goodbye would be too hard. It would be emotional.
That's true.
There is one person that is saying goodbye, and for many it is emotional, and that's Lou Dort.
He was ASU's leading scorer, a difference maker on the court, and a notable absence when he was on the bench. He was on the Pac-12 All-Defensive Team. He was the Pac-12 Freshman of the Year. While Lou Dort was just that, a freshman, he was really also one of the Sun Devils' most impactful players and a key reason for their second straight NCAA tournament berth. But, like you said, his time in Tempe, it's come to a close. On Wednesday, Dort announced his intention to enter the 2019 NBA Draft. He's projected to be a late first-round or early second-round pick and join Zylan Cheatham as another departing starter that ASU will need to replace next season. Lou's likely to be the highest drafted player since this guy named James Harden was selected in 2009.
Well, Dort may be leaving, but Bobby, insert several asterisks, Hurley is staying right here. We all saw the tweets, we all saw the rumors. With Chris Mullin deciding to step down as head coach of St. John's, Bobby Hurley's name immediately started flying around as his successor. And while that makes sense given his East Coast ties and where he grew up, it's a lateral move as far as coaching is concerned. And so, instead, Bobby Hurley doubled down on his commitment to the maroon and gold and took to Twitter to express his thanks to Ray Anderson and company for believing in the product that he is putting out in Tempe.
Bobby Hurley, he's not going anywhere. That contract extension, it's confirmed today. Now moving over to Phoenix, meeting the baseball diamond. While we knew the near-perfect season couldn't last forever, the Sun Devil baseball team has hit its first rough patch of the season. Their last 5 games. After dropping a 14-9 contest to Long Beach State, ASU was hoping to get back to their winning ways against USC, but that didn't quite happen. Alec Marsh suffered his first bad outing of the season on Friday, and ASU lost 10-6. Then the Bats couldn't find a spark on Saturday, and the Trojans clinched the weekend with a 7-3 win. While the Devils were able to salvage the series and avoid a sweep with an 11-8 victory Sunday, where Spencer Torkelson homered for the second straight game, that's where the good comes to an end. ASU led from the 3rd inning on Tuesday in Las Vegas. The Rebels were no match for the Sun Devil offense until the 9th inning. 3 Sun Devil pitchers combined to allow 3 singles, 6 walks, a wild pitch, and a balk, as UNLV scored 6 runs to come back and walk off victorious 10-9. This weekend, Arizona State is going to face its biggest challenge so far this season because, well, the defending national champion Oregon State Beavers come to town. And we're going to take a look at the matchup and welcome in WCSN's ASU baseball insider, Bobby Krause. Bobby, straightforward question. Why has ASU hit the recent skid that they've been on?
Well, if you take a look at the numbers over this 1-4 start that's been following the 25-1 start for ASU, it really has been the pitching that's letting them down. If you look at the numbers through the first 26 games of the season, ASU's team ERA was a shade over 3. In the 1-4 record since, it's a shade under 10. They're still averaging just about an error per game, and the run total has dropped from just under 10 runs per game to about 7.5 runs per game. Those last 2 categories are still enough to be getting the job done. It's just been the stark difference in pitching production that's been failing them so far.
Sure, that makes sense. The 25-1 start, I think, kind of surprised a lot of us. Do you think that was just the team outplaying their potential?
Yes, but I think that would be any team outplaying its potential because anyone that pays enough attention to baseball knows that you don't normally win 25 out of 26. It just doesn't work that way. This team is still loaded with talent. The offense is so deep and so able to produce runs at a very high clip, and there's still a lot of potential in this pitching rotation led by Alec Marsh and Boyd Vanderkoy. I think that this is still going to be a very good season for Arizona State. They're just hitting their first rough stretch of the season.
Last year, the Devils took 1 of 3 games up in Corvallis, this time with an improved team. What do you think the key is going to be for a successful weekend against the Beavers?
Well, apart from the obvious cliches of needing to pitch well, play defense well, and hit well, they're going to have a tough task on their hand with consensus #1 overall pick in June, Adley Rutschman, coming to town, along with his other Beaver teammates. Now, these are not the Beaver teams of recent years with the likes of Nick Madrigal, Caden Grenier, Michael Gretler, and the rest, but this is still a very potent Oregon State team, a team that could very well make it to Omaha and even repeat as national champions. This is going to be a very crucial week for Arizona State baseball.
Awesome, Bobby. Thanks so much for your insight. We appreciate it. Sun Devils, Beavers this weekend. Oh, it's going to be a good series, folks.
The historic season of Arizona State's men's hockey team is well documented. We've talked about it on this show, and it became national news as ASU reached the NCAA tournament for the first time in the program's history. While the Sun Devils exited into the first round, the history didn't stop there. Goalie Joey Daccord made even more history as he became the first hockey player that donned the maroon and gold to appear in an NHL game. Daccord started in goal for the Ottawa Senators and had this to say after his debut.
People will see that you can come out here and you can be a professional hockey player from here, and you can come here and achieve any dream you want. And that's something that was always the goal when I came here, was to play professional hockey. To see it actually happen was incredible. And then in terms of the program, I think it just proves that this program, for this program, the sky's the limit.
After a hot start to the season, the ASU softball team has come back down to earth in recent weeks, and as the team has entered the meat of their schedule and has now lost 6 in a row. And for more on what's been plaguing this team and how they can snap the losing streak, we bring in WCSN softball expert Gabe Swartz. Gabe, thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
And there's no way to put it plainly, 6 straight losses is never something you want to see when you look at your schedule. So what have been the biggest reasons for this slide?
I think the obvious thing is just scoring. ASU in their 6-game losing streak has scored only 4 runs. When you're scoring less than 1 run per game, you're not going to have a lot of success. Kendra Hackbarth has been struggling. Morgan Howe has been struggling. All of the top hitters for ASU. You look at this graphic here, no runs in 5 of their last 6 games, batting 156, 53 runs allowed, so they're also giving up a ton of runs, and the opponent batting average 383. So simply put, everything's going poorly for ASU. Last weekend, Trisha Ford tried to switch the lineup around and move people around the order, but it didn't really work.
Yeah, and one of the differences between last year's team and this year's team is when there was a quick slide, you had G. Juarez who could come in and boom, stop jobs. But this year's team doesn't have that same caliber of arm. So how has the pitching played into the streak?
Well, this past weekend, or past 2 weekends against Arizona and against UCLA has been probably the first time where it's been apparent that they're missing G. Juarez. And with Samantha Mejia, Abby Anderson, and Cielo Meza, I think they're finally learning about the Pac-12 and how tough it is to get through opposing orders. And as they go into Washington this weekend, I think they'll have to adjust again. But it's clear that they don't have Juarez and they don't have someone that they can go to get an automatic win.
Yeah, and you mentioned it, no rest for the weary as the team heads up to Seattle this weekend to take on UW. What are your expectations for the weekend?
I think ASU's probably going to come home Sunday night and have a 9-game losing streak, if I'm being honest, because it's not going to get any easier. Arizona was tough, UCLA was tough, and Washington is going to be just as tough. So another road trip up to the Pacific Northwest, and I think ASU's struggles will continue.
Yeah, it's certainly a dogfight in the Pac-12, and as I mentioned, the Sun Devils are getting put through the ringer right now in conference play, as is the case year after year. Depth is the definition of this conference, and for more on the conference landscape as a whole, here's Riley Trujillo.
Arizona State softball dropped its 6th straight loss to #1 UCLA last Sunday and suffered its 2nd consecutive series sweep after falling to #8 Arizona just prior. Both opponents ASU faced remain undefeated in Pac-12 play and rank in the nation's top 10. And while the Devils housed some of the most premier offense in play in the nation earlier this season, they struggled at the plate after being shut out in 5 of the 6 games and only tagged 5 runs in their final loss. Combined with offensive struggles, the defense also allowed 53 runs in that 6-game stretch. ASU is approaching the final series of 9-game stretch against teams in the top 10, as well as the team will travel to #4 ranked Washington. While these matchups has exposed the weaknesses of the Sun Devils on both sides of the ball, it comes with the understanding that these Pac-12 contests are some of the toughest in all of college softball. It can't come as a surprise the Devils have struggled while only falling in 8 of their 33 games heading into the stretch. What should be the larger storyline is the Devils' inability to generate any offense in the last 2 series, especially knowing that if the season ended today, the team's .332 batting average would rank as the 2nd highest mark in the last decade. So where have the bats been the last few games? The potential to put up runs is present, especially from players like Kendra Hackbarth, who ranks 3rd in the Pac-12 with 52 hits and leads the conference in averaging 1.28 runs per game. If ASU wants to close out this stretch and remain in the top 25, the team is going to need wins and prove that they belong in the conversation with the other nation-leading Pac-12 teams. With the end of conference play in sight, all eyes are on ASU, and time is not on their side.
Riley, thanks so much. Arizona State Gymnastics placed 7th out of 8 teams in the Baton Rouge Regional last week, but the season isn't quite over yet for one Gym Devil. Sophomore Kyra Leonard-Baker won the regional bars title with a score of 9.925, and for the second consecutive year is headed to nationals. She'll compete for a national championship a week from today on April 19th in Fort Worth, Texas. Now, moving over to ASU Beach Volleyball in Sand Devil Stadium, ASU Beach Volleyball is having their best start at program history. At 15-12, they look to finish off the regular season strong this weekend in Texas. WCSN's Reed Harmon looks back at what has brought the Sand Devils to this point and what they look to accomplish before the season comes to a close.
This weekend, Arizona State Beach Volleyball heads into its final stretch of the regular season. The Devils will head to Texas to compete in the Kingsville Beach Bash and face Abilene Christian, Texas A&M Kingsville, and Park University.
We just want to finish strong. You know, we're going to do what we can. We don't know if we're always going to be able to get a win because you can't really, you don't really know the outcome, but you know you can control. You can do what you can control.
Already compiling more wins this season than last, the Sand Devils' success falls heavily on their unique top duo.
Both of us are very just laid back, and you watch us play, we don't really have like super high peaks of excitement or super low peaks of frustration. It's just kind of steady, and so I think together we complement each other in that way where we both just feed off of each other's very calm energy. And
fifth-year players Ali Okaro and Ashley Wentz have been a consistent pair for ASU all season. The two are 15-3 after starting the year with 12 straight pair victories. Okaro and Wentz won Pac-12 Pair of the Week earlier this season, the first time any weekly award has been presented in program history. The duo's productivity stems from how they complement each other in unexpected ways.
Honestly, it's kind of funny because it's not as simple as you think sometimes because we're both tall. So, you know, sometimes a tall and a short person complement each other. So being two tall people, it's like sometimes we have to figure out ways to pick up where the other person lacks. But it's kind of hard because we have like the same similarities, you know, and like we lack the same things and we're good at the same things, you know. But I think now that we figure that out, we just use it to our advantage.
This season has not just been the result of skill the Devils possess on the sand, but it is the camaraderie the team has built throughout the year.
the dynamic of the team is great. The chemistry of everyone playing together. We all get along, the just flow of a daily practice. There aren't really any issues or drama, and everyone's willing to kind of push each other, whether it's an underclassman or an upperclassman. Everyone is able to kind of say what they're thinking and be able to use that to make the team grow and move on.
Reporting from Para Club in Tempe, Reed Harmon, Cronkite Sports.
Great content from Reed there. Now we're back in our downtown Phoenix studios, and it's time for This Week in Sun Devil social media. For that, we bring in another Bay Area native to the screen once again. Alex Rodier, glad to have you.
Guys, thanks for having me back. The Bay Area consistently produces the best anchors, and
can confirm.
Couldn't agree more.
So here we are. It's been a slow week for Sun Devil Twitter. Not much to boast about, but there is still cause for celebration because it has been a holiday this past week. April 10th is National Sibling Day, and Sun Devil Softball posts a lot of siblings. I mean, you have the Hackbarth twins and the Anderson siblings. So I have to ask you guys, what is the best duo of siblings in all sports?
You're talking in all of the world that has ever existed?
Ever existed.
It's Kendra and Maddie Hackbarth. I'm sorry, this ASU softball team would be not very good if it weren't for the two of them.
You know, I'm going to stick with ASU. The most fun pair of siblings that I've ever had the pleasure of watching as a fan or as someone covering a team would be Cassidy and Kylie Pickerel. The duo on the volleyball team has enjoyed some great success here in Tempe, and they were just a blast.
Alex, I apologize we didn't really answer your question, but those were
our picks. I love your guys' loyalty to ASU. I'm going to have to go with the Barber brothers from the NFL. I mean,
it's a good answer.
It's professional. I guess they're a bit better.
That's fair.
But second tweet, it's another just like other social media aspect. Recruiting. Teams do it all the time, and ASU is really latching on to the whole Thanos and Infinity Gauntlet. So I ask you guys, if you had all 6 stones and can control and do anything in the universe, what would you do?
I would want to be able to make graphics like that. Fantastic job by the ASU recruiting department. The graphic game has been fantastic all season, but especially this is really cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of layers to that graphic that I really, really enjoy. But honestly, as far as the world of month of April nerding out fandom, you can catch me more on the Game of Thrones side. Can't wait for Sunday. Avengers is kind of lost on me.
I appreciate you guys answering the question. And for my third tweet, it's going to be about the men's golf program. And recently, 942 tweeted out that that students should come to the 18th hole to pick up their student food voucher. So I have to ask you, and Sun Devil Golf wanted the curtain of distraction there. I have to ask you, where do you put the curtain of distraction besides basketball? Anywhere in ASU?
That's tough. I don't know if you guys saw, but they tried to bring it to water polo a couple of weeks ago, and the referees didn't like that too much. I think either baseball or softball would be kind of cool. Like you set it up right behind. I know the fans that have season tickets behind home plate might get a little upset, but I think it'd be great whenever the opposing pitcher is throwing. If you have the curtain distraction there, every single pitch, it's something new that would showcase creativity. I think that'd give ASU a little bit of an extra home field advantage.
You know, honestly, my first thought was track and field, but that has the potential to be a little bit dangerous. So I'm going to go with a no on that one. What I will say though is tennis. And that is because it is close quarters. You are forced to look at it. You know, Wells Fargo, you can look away if you really wanted to. Tennis, there's nowhere for you to really look. If that's in your view, it's in your view.
See, ASU has a history of facing teams in the final seconds to kick a field goal. So I say you put it behind the posts. And just in case somebody accidentally misses wide right, then maybe the curtain of distraction had something to do with it.
I like that. That's really good.
Excellent stuff as always. You know, you really can't be wrong with what he said there.
No.
Bay Area's got some great CSL talent. It is what it is. And also what it is that men's tennis is enjoying a very successful season at the Whiteman Tennis Center. They're just a couple years removed from not existing as a program. The team is performing well, sitting comfortably in multiple rankings, and part of the reason for that is junior and Scottsdale native Nathan Ponwith. And our own Mason Kern has more.
He has the ability to be by far one of the best players in college tennis.
I think we have a great relationship on the court, out of the court. Like the chemistry is pretty great.
It's impressive to see where his level's at right now and where it can go.
Nathan Ponwith was the #1 ranked high school tennis recruit coming out of the 2016 class. He committed to Georgia and earned an SEC record 5 Freshman of the Week honors en route to the 2017 SEC Freshman of the Year award. Now this season he transferred to Arizona State, where he's had the chance to play at the Whiteman Tennis Center just 20 minutes from where he grew up in Scottsdale. And now he has the chance to play at home in the Pac-12.
Yeah, I grew up playing here, and it's definitely it feels great that it's come full circle. I'm here competing for Arizona State and playing for my city, and having my friends and family come out, it's really something special.
At the time of Ponwith's commitment to Georgia in 2016, Arizona State didn't house a men's tennis program. The school discontinued the team in 2008 due to financial reasons. But in 2017, it was brought back, with Coach Matt Hill taking the reins and bringing the school back into the national spotlight with a tournament win and NCAA championship berth. The gravitational pull homeward led Ponwith back to Arizona.
It was just best for the time being to come home and transfer to Arizona State and be with my family. And I knew Matt was a really good coach and has a great program here.
The decision paid off. Ponwith and his doubles partner Dominic Kolovsky are #8 in the country, and he's starting to peak into top form in the most crucial part of the season.
I think that we choose the right shots, especially Nate was playing really great, and we just tried to do our best at that moment, and we just got it.
Oh, he's a tough kid. He can handle a lot of what comes at him in the match. He's really well-rounded. You know, he serves well, he returns well, he's good on the ground. He can hurt you on the ground. He's learning to come forward. He can counter you if you come forward. I mean, he's a very well-rounded player. I mean, he's always been one of the best players in the United States.
The impact he's made extends beyond the tennis court, though.
He's a really remarkable young man, and it's been fun to be a part of his process and his journey the last 12 months.
And that path will continue to be forged throughout his time representing his hometown school. Reporting in Tempe, Mason Kern, Cronkite Sports.
Campus-wide leader, we pride ourselves on truthful reporting. And to be frank with you, there's been a lot of negativity in this show. Baseball scuffling, softball's in the middle of a brutal stretch in its schedule, but I say it's in time that we here at CSL inform you, the people, of the true top team at ASU. Obviously, it's women's tennis. Lauren Jean-Baptiste and Ilse Hadding are currently ranked as the #1 doubles duo in the nation. Last year, the two advanced to the quarterfinals at the NCAA Doubles Championships. The duo beat Denver on Sunday and wrap up the regular season with Oregon this weekend, and then Arizona on Saturday, the 20th of April.
ASU men's golf is currently hosting a tournament at their beautiful new Papago golf facility, and they're taking on the likes of Oklahoma State, Baylor, Texas. It is a tournament with some of the best collegiate golfers in the country, as ASU golf currently sits at #2 in the nation. And quite frankly, they're doing very, very well. They got the individual leader and the team lead as well, and that's the way it is.
Oh, Andre, you're a little early on that. We're not quite to the monologue yet.
This is true. Jump the gun a little bit. My mistake.
Jump the gun. But we're going to get there soon enough. I want to ask you, we heard from Bobby earlier in the show, do you think ASU baseball's recent struggles are an honest concern, or is there just a bump in the road for a very, very good team?
Honestly, I think Bobby said it best. 25-1 is overachieving for any team. I don't care who you are. And so I do think this team is legit. They have the offense to make it very, very far this year. I think they'll be fine.
No, I agree. The schedule at the beginning of the season was a little easier, but still, you have a fantastic offense if you're Tracy Smith. And the pitching has obviously shown that it has the ability to throw strikes and be consistent. So I think this is just a bump in the road. They're going to get back to their winning ways. Honestly, I think they host a regional.
Not bad. I'm going to flip the script on you. We're going to golf. It's the Masters this weekend. There's a few ASU alumni in the field right now. Who has the best finish?
I kind of want to go with Phil Mickelson. He helped design the Papago golf course that you mentioned a little bit ago. So I think maybe there's some good juju going there. I think he's the one who takes it.
You know, never a bad bet to go with lefty, but I'm going to go with John Rahm, the younger, sort of the heir apparent to lefty as far as ASU notable golfers. He's currently at -5 right now, a couple strokes off the lead. Finished 4th last year. I think he's going to finish even better this year.
Okay, let's wrap things up. There have been a lot of ASU teams in the NCAA tournament this year. Triathlon won the national championship this year. A couple years ago, it was women's golf. So I want to ask you, which ASU sport is going to be the next to win a national championship?
You know, in the words of John Rothstein, men's golf, Sharpie.
Oh, that's good. I can't not say women's triathlon, though. They've won it the last 3 years. They have just been so dominant in the world of collegiate triathlon. They're fun to watch. Triathlon's a fun sport, and they are one of the most talented teams for any sport at the collegiate level.
Absolutely. You know, got a lot of respect for triathletes.
Right?
They do some pretty incredible things.
Really an underrated sport.
I could never.
What I could do, though, is easily win this segment. I have a level of confidence unknown to mankind that the 2 box is going to pull away. It is going to be an absolutely beautiful MCU of yours truly.
You know, I really hope you're wrong, but at the same time, I'm not mad if you win.
You're not going to be mad if I win? You're not mad?
I'm not mad.
Love it. It seems like just yesterday, we were all singing the praises of ASU baseball and head coach Tracy Smith. And for good reason. The team was 25-1 with a sweep over Arizona. But that 5-hour game that ended the series, the 17-16 walk-off win over the Wildcats, really has taken its toll on ASU. Now, it's gut check time for the Devils. Since that win, the Sun Devils have dropped a game by 5 runs to a 3-23 Long Beach State team. They've lost 2 of 3 to a USC team that finished below the Devils in the standings last season. Then on Tuesday, UNLV came back from down 5 runs to draw 6 walks and score 6 runs to win that game. This weekend, the defending national champions are coming to town. If ASU doesn't show up in form, things aren't looking good against Oregon State. The non-conference schedule was one of the program's easier slates in recent memory, and now the Sun Devils are really feeling the effects of both that, plus their short roster and pitching staff. The bats are still there, but the pitching has essentially gone non-existent. It doesn't help that Tracy Smith's bullpen management is as bad as it's been all season. Now, his job isn't easy with the small group he's dealing with, but part of that short roster was by his design. Now here's my point. The hitting has been good. The defense has been solid as well. But if the pitching doesn't turn around, they're not going to beat some of the country's best. UCLA, Oregon State, and Stanford all remain on their schedule and are all top 10 teams. Bottom line, if the Devils continue to play like they have been, a trip to Omaha will be a pipe dream. And that's the way it is.
And Nick, this is why I was not mad that you won, because I get to get 2 of the 3 top plays, and you love to see that.
Okay, that's not fair.
Starting it off, number 3, you know, there's been a lot of talk about Hunter Bishop this year, and rightfully so. People act like Spencer Torkelson didn't break every freshman record known to mankind. Oppo Taco there against the Trojans. He is very #good at baseball.
He's hitting almost 400 and people aren't talking about him. For number 2, it's another Oppo Taco, Ali Tatnall. Homers to the opposite field to end the scoreless drought. It was 30 innings. She was the last one to score before it, and she's the one that breaks it, pounds her chest, rightfully so. She has the highest batting average on the team in Pac-12 play.
Number 1, you love to see it. Oakland's own Cairo Leonard Baker on the uneven bars. LSU, they were there. They're a great team. Thanks for stopping by. No chance on the bars. The Utah Red Rocks, nope, no chance. They came to Tempe earlier, did very, very well. But that's because Cairo Leonard Baker, with the full-in dismount, sticks it 9-9-2-5. That won the regional.
And that won this show. The East Bay had a fantastic representation. You always like to see it.
You know, number 1 play in our top play, number one anchors, number 1 social media guy. This is just a number 1 show all the way around.
And we're really glad that each and every one of you chose to spend a little bit of your Friday with us here at the campus-wide leader, but that'll do it for now. Andre Sims, our entire production staff, we really appreciate you joining us. The semester's almost over, folks. You're not going to want to miss our final 2 shows. Same place, same time next week. We'll see you then.